Good afternoon. Myself and my colleagues have formed this digital presentation focusing on the recent VW emissions scandal. Volkswagen is a worldwide automotive group founded in 1937. They supply cars, trucks and buses to a global market. The German giant is renowned for its ability to supply quality vehicles and gives a people's car approach to design and price. The group operates in 119 production plants in 20 European countries, with a further 11 countries in the Americas, Africa and Asia. Every day of the week, VW employees produce nearly 41,000 vehicles. This presentation will cover three categories: purpose, stakeholders and governance.
Thank you, James. I'm going to be talking about the purpose of Volkswagen. The purpose, or the mission statement, is the business's purpose in the market. Volkswagen's mission statement goes a little like this. The group's goal is to offer attractive, safe, and environmentally sound vehicles, which can compete in an increasingly tough market and set world standards in their respective class. Volkswagen AG. This is the most commonly used mission statement by Volkswagen, as there are a lot of mission statements going around. Volkswagen has been adversely affected by the current scandal, as their brand image will be tarnished, and they will now be viewed as a cheating brand. Audi, Bentley, Porsche, Skoda, Lamborghini, MAN Trucks, Scania, and the Ducati motorcycle brands might all be affected by the current scandal by the parent company Volkswagen. Although, despite the current concerns, the brand may be tarnished. Oh, Jesus. Although the brand may be tarnished, it has been noted by This Is Money that all sales have increased by 16.4%, and they show no indication of slowing. I will now be passing the next slide on to my partner, Sam. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you, John. The first stakeholder I'd like to talk about are the customers. 1,189,906 vehicles have been affected by this. That's 10% of the country's diesel cars that have been affected by the VW emissions scandal. So what does this mean for the customer? This could lead to a mass recall of VW, Audi, Skoda and Seat cars. Although the exact figure has not been given for the UK, in the US 500,000 cars have already been recalled. This will mean that the consumer will be left without a car, causing disruption to their daily lifestyle. They would then have to pay for extra transport to get themselves to work or to get their children to school. This could lead to customers wanting compensation. With this mass recall in the US, they have dedicated £4.2 billion in compensation for owners of the cars. Although short term it may not be great for the customer, long term it may be nice to get a nice payout. But for VW, the effect of the scandal could lead to non-repeated business or no new business. Amongst the consumers, the reputation of cars has been destroyed, leading to less diesel cars being sold, growing dissatisfaction from customers, and competitor car brands such as Tesla being favoured. A VW spokesman said, VW are committed to support its customers and retailers over the coming weeks. My next stakeholder would be the manufacturers of the VW car. As James said earlier, every weekday, 592,586 employees worldwide produce 41,000 new cars. Without manufacturers, VW wouldn't be able to supply cars for demand. The day-to-day production of cars is vital for the company and the operations of the company. Also, as John mentioned earlier, although the scandal has created a negative image for the company, this hasn't been reflected in the sales for September as we first thought. VW sales have been up since 2014. Petrol sales were up 12.3% compared to 4.1% for diesel cars. Furthermore, the idea of staff potentially losing their jobs due to less demand isn't reflected in this statistic. At the current state, the manufacturer of VW wouldn't be overly worried regarding their jobs. Although long-term future of this scandal hasn't been clarified, the short-term looks relatively positive for this stakeholder. Is this the only positive stakeholder to come out of this crisis? I'll now hand you over to my friend Kieran, who will talk about governance for VW.
Thanks, Sam. Now, I will be talking about governance. The definition of governance is the action or manner of governing a state or organization. or in other words, it's the methods of controlling or laying out rules for a state or organisation. Investors in VW have been accused of ignoring clear signs of corporate governance failings. This was even before the emissions scandal. Investors could have identified the problem long before the scandal emerged. Vigeo is a French company which provides corporate responsibility analysis for large firms all around the world. They also warned VW. VW have had more than enough warnings here, but the real question is, could they have actually prevented this problem from happening? My personal bet would be that VW chief executives didn't even know about what was happening until quite late, which would have insinuated that it is more than likely that further down the chain of command, the decisions were made. Unless VW focuses on these issues in hand and concentrates on its structural responsibilities, which was not prioritized, VW will be left with the root causes still in place. They will continue to formulate their own self-destruction.
Thanks, Kieran. In summary, this scandal has led to widespread public investigation, giving all areas we have mentioned specific effects. The immediate outrage has been less damaging than originally thought. So here's a question. Is bad publicity good publicity?